Good morning. How are you? Today is a Thursday morning in November. We're halfway through November already. I cannot believe it. I feel like November just started, and we just started with the month of November. And I'm so intrigued by the fact that this year just flew by. I mean, we're already on like the last month, and we're almost on the last month of 2019, and 2020, which I thought was so far away, is now here. But anyways, that's not why I'm talking today. I'm going to address the Joker movie and the film Joker, and talk a little bit about the movie. So I've seen the cartoons. I've seen the Jared Leto one. I think that's his last name. I've seen the Heath Ledger one, and I've also seen this one. And I've also seen some older ones. The one with like Jack Nicholson, and then there's another one. I think that was Danny. No, maybe he was the Penguin Man, but maybe he wasn't Joker. This bus is taking forever to go, and so I've seen a lot of them, and I think that the best one so far that portrays, at least in terms of emotion, and the person who's acted the best is the Heath Ledger one. You know, the Dark Knight Batman Joker. And rest in peace. I mean, Heath Ledger was an amazing actor. I mean, he had just this amazing talent and ability to reach out to people, but also to reach out to his audience. One of my favorite movies actually is A Knight's Tale, and he's in that movie, and he's the main character, and he's just brilliant in that movie. I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing love story based on him being a child in poverty, you know, but actually like meeting his father later on in life and wanting to court this lady, but he goes through all this other crap that is so unfair. But he's just this, and then he is jousting and all this different stuff. But it's an amazing movie, and I wish that a lot of people would watch that. I mean, 10 Things I Hate About You is one of his best too, but I think that one, A Knight's Tale, is just amazing because it also has other actors in it that are amazing. Anyways, back to the Joker. I just had to pay tribute and homage to Heath Ledger. I love him as an actor. And back to the Joker. I saw this last night at 9:15 p.m. with my friend James Wooster, and honestly, I was floored about how amazing it is and was. Like, as someone who has a background in social work and who grew up with a mentally ill mother and who has mental illness in her family, and also who struggles with it in many ways, you know, my depression, some other things that I feel I might have been diagnosed with, but I really felt triggered by that movie. But luckily I've dealt with a lot of things that have happened in my life, so seeing people that are mentally ill or learning about mental illness or hearing about it does not affect me in the ways that it did when I was younger. Why is there like all of a sudden traffic here? It's too early for this. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to stay on. I'm going to stay on the drive. Let me see. So basically, if you have not seen the Joker, do not watch or listen to what I'm about to say, because, well, you can actually, because I'm not going to talk about everything in the movie that you have not seen or that is not really heard about or talked about in the trailers or in the features and stuff. This Joker movie was basically on the background of Joker and why Joker became a Joker. You know, why the Joker became this notorious, as you've seen in cartoon, as you might have seen in cartoons and other series where they portrayed the Joker as this, you know, not demon-like character who, you know, has a heart but also is reckless and laughs, you know, like that kind of thing. And Joaquin Phoenix was, I mean, he's the one who was in the newest Joker movie. He deserves an award for that, for his role. I mean, I am going to be pissed if he does not win an Oscar for that. I mean, that was an amazing performance. And I'm gonna just get off here and I'll just drive the rest of the way. But I'm just, wow, that was an amazing performance, and I really feel like he knocked it out of the park, hands down. and just, yeah. Just going, sorry. But, yeah, he knocked it out of the park, and he really, really did an amazing job in portraying a character that was mentally ill, but that had, you know, human problems and human, not that people who are mentally ill are not human, but a lot of times a lot of people who are mentally ill in movies are portrayed as inhumane, or they are dehumanized for not having these morals of society, that and not having these norms, I will say, the norms of society, and working in ways that a regular average person would. But what I found very interesting about the Joker movie, which is this is something I think about a lot, is that the state of the world that we live in right now will drive anybody insane. Like, it will drive anybody insane. The fact that there are, you know, wealthy people, and that there are people down here, you know, at the bottom, that don't have a lot, and there aren't a lot of jobs out there for people, and that people are making minimum wage, and they still have to pay for this expensive apartment, it will drive anybody insane to the point of wanting to kill people or doing bad things. I mean, I don't think that these things are reasons to act out, but I understand why people do, you know. But there is a level of responsibility, I feel, to this, and you can't always, maybe we'll just go this way today. People cannot blame their situation all the time on being mentally ill. I do get that, but I do think that there are a lot of reasons why people are the way they are with mental illness, and I feel like his performance, Joaquin Phoenix, was so realistic. It was so haunting, like how much weight he lost for that role, you know, what he looked like physically in his face, the grayness, I mean, the makeup that they did, the way that he acted, just, it was so realistic. I mean, it was not even, when I was with James in the movie, he like got, you know, there are times that he was like not fear, but emotional, because it looked so realistic. It was so realistic, and I'm so proud of him for portraying that. Like, I am so proud of him for showing what actually happens, you know, this Joker role. I'm so proud of Joaquin Phoenix for showing and giving light to mental illness in that way, you know, because we think of people, sometimes don't think about the roots of why people are the way they are, and why people are going crazy, and why they do what they do. It's a pretty dog. But mental illness is also something that I think, well, living a dysfunctional life on top of being mentally ill will drive you insane, and having problems in your life and having trauma. Actually, let me go this way, because this is the way to go. Yeah, but oh wow, like that, there's so much I could say about the Joker, but I will say this, because I feel that if someone watches this and they haven't seen the movie, that I don't want to give away everything that I have, that every bit of the movie, which I don't think that even if I tried to explain all of it, that I could tell that it would make up for his performance, and you would still have to see it for yourself to actually understand the depths of how amazing that performance was. I mean, it was just amazing. And I honestly, hands down, like, one of the best movies I've seen in a really long time. But what I do want to go back to and talk about is this society being imbalanced, leading to people having problems. I do feel and know that the more that we oppress people, and that we don't address, you know, people's mental illness, and that we allow people to, not allow people, I shouldn't say that, the more that we don't give people what they respect. Kindness was the root of that movie. I mean, kindness is the biggest thing. People can end up doing things that are not the best for society as a whole, and for their personal lives. I mean, see, now I'm like, should I say this part of the movie? And I guess I won't. I want to be more kind to people that I see, but also I feel there has to be a balance of like, well, if I'm getting stomped on and I don't see things that are right, how silent do I have to be before I lose my mind? You know, and that's the same for other people. How silent do they have to be? Which is why I'm just like trying to squash things with people that I've had problems with, because one, I don't want to contribute to anyone's mental illness. I don't want to contribute to anyone living a bad life or having trauma or being triggered or any of that stuff. And there's a scene in there that's very specific that I'm thinking about. Well, there are a few scenes, but I can't say them because I'm trying not to say anything about the movie directly. But what I think Joaquin Phoenix really captured in the movie, and he captures this in a lot of his movies. I mean, he really is very good at taking on the role that's put in front of him. If you've never seen Gladiator, which is also one of my favorite movies, like Gladiator, he was so disturbing in that movie. I mean, so sickening, but also enticing. I mean, oh man, like I love him. I mean, he's become one of my favorite actors. But what he really captured from the Joker movie was the essence of humanity. Like the human experience is that everyone will go crazy if they're pushed against a wall. If they're constantly pushed against a wall, no one can stay sane if they are faced. You know, there's one part of the movie that Joaquin is talking to his mom, and which is another story, but he basically says to her, I have not been happy one day in my entire life. And I thought that was so powerful when he said that, because I was like, wow, that's how a lot of people feel. A lot of people feel like they cannot be happy, that they haven't been happy because of what's happened to them. And his mother called him happy. You know, she named him and called him happy for him to embody happiness. But it's almost like she intentionally named him that because she knew that he would never be happy because of his circumstances, because of how she was. And I won't talk about Penny Fleck, which is his mom, but just an amazing movie, and I would recommend everybody to watch that, not just for the sake of saying that you watched a Joker movie, but to really think, to challenge you through a motion picture, to really think deeply about what's happening in our world, why people are rioting, why people are mentally ill, why people are in poverty, what's happening with our social services system. I mean, the people are losing benefits, and it's causing people to act out. I mean, there's so much in that movie that I feel applies to today, and I think that was the point of making the Joker movie, because in the past, the Joker movies, I feel, were about the negative effects of Joker, in the sense of like what happened after he was, you know, made mentally ill, and what happened after he was in Gotham, and after he was, you know, already had the name of being a Joker, and after Batman was looking for him to kill him and stuff like that. I think that those are and for Joker to just be crazy to kill other people. But there was never a movie, I feel, that made that went back to the roots of why Joker is Joker, and what made Joker so crazy, you know, or so out of balance. And I'm so thankful for this movie, because I am at a point where I'm kind of tired of seeing things that are not what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm tired of seeing things that are, no, someone was literally just jumped down in front of me. But I'm tired of seeing things that are, and there are like other cars behind me, so if I stopped, then that car would crash into me, and it's like, this is not a place for someone to just walk in the street. Sorry, that's like that's a balance of like, I've seen too many people walking on the street, and I'm just worried that they're gonna get hit, like, and I'm gonna crash into them, and the person in front of me is gonna crash, and that leaves like bam, bam, bam. But our society is so broken, and people are mentally messed up. What is this person doing in front of me too? Look at that. They just literally did that in front of me. Our society is so messed up and broken, and I feel that, yes, I do think that kindness, and I didn't say this before, I think that kindness is the answer to a lot of the things that we're seeing, but I think also tackling mental illness and being upfront with people about what's going on with them is so important. There was a part in the movie where the Joker said to his social worker, Um, which in the movie they cut all the funds because that's like how she said, we're cutting funds, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if she said that because they're actually cutting funds. No, I think that they were cutting funds. And so there's a part in there where the Joker goes to her. Well, he goes to her like at least, I think he goes to her once a week. And he said to her, "You're not listening to me. You never listen to me. You say the same thing over and over again and ask me how I am and blah, blah, but you never listen to me." Who's listening to those who are mentally ill? Who's listening to what's actually going on with people and speaking out against it? I mean, I think that there are too many people who are living in a fantasy of their life, and they want the chaos, which is another thing that I think is appealing to for the Joker movie, is that people want chaos. They want to live in like this state of chaos and all these different things, but chaos is not normal. We are not supposed to be in a society that's chaotic. I think it's normal in the sense that society has become chaotic because of the fact that the problems of society, like I was talking about, poverty, inequality, superiority, misogyny, bigotry, like all these different things that you see. But chaos is not normal. It's not normal to live in chaos. And I think that that's another thing that I found really interesting about the Joker movie, is that in the end, people were on the streets and protesting and stuff. But nobody really wants to be on the street protesting and being in anger all the time. But you get to a point where you start being in a chaotic situation, and that becomes normalized for you because your life is chaotic and you have no other choice sometimes, it feels, to be in a state of chaos. But that's why I think that we have to start talking to people that are having problems about what's actually going on with them. And I have a lot of friends and people that don't want to talk, that are like, well, you should just, I don't really want to talk about what's going on with me. And I'm like, but then who's going to talk about what's going on with you? Isn't it a disservice to me to not talk about what's going on with you and to not help you in the ways I can with what's going on with you? I mean, I worry about those who live in this fantasy of life, because how is that making you better? How's that making the world better by you always being in a fantasy? Like, how is that helping? Like I said, chaos is not normal. It's something that I've had to really sit and internalize. And when I'm in a state of chaos, it's fun to be in chaos, though, in some ways, because when everyone around you is chaotic and everyone's messed up, like in these marches and these protests, like I'm not saying that protests and all that stuff are chaotic, but I think a lot of protests and marches can create chaos. I don't think that there is a direct relation, but I think that in some ways they are related. But I think it's fun to be in a state of chaos because it allows you to escape whatever's going on with you and whatever reality that you're in. And everyone is in a state of chaos, so it brings solidarity. But can the world continue to be in a state of chaos? Like in the Joker movie, when they were doing these protests and they were saying like resist, which I think that we should protest and resist. I do think so, but in ways, I think that there are certain ways to do it, to be very strategic and smart about how you do it. But there were like houses on fire, there were cars being burnt. I mean, there are a lot of there's like a little parking in here. Oh, there's parking right here. There are a lot of things that I felt were wrong with, seeing chaos and it being normalized. And I don't think that that should be normalized, chaos or anything like that. But yeah, I'm so passionate about helping people through their chaos because I don't want people in streets protesting if they don't have to. I don't want people to keep living in a state of thinking that what's going on with them is normal. And so we have to really help the Jokers of society and be kind to them, because who else is going to be kind to them? But also call out the Jokers of society and be like, this is what's going on with you. You can't oppress people. Just because you're going through things, you cannot be harmful to people. You can't go around shooting people just because it's I do see the logic behind it, though. That's the thing. But I also think you can't go around shooting people and shooting things that don't make sense and being, hard on those that are trying to be better, and also those that are just trying to live and then happen to make mistakes, but also those that you are against that are just living their life in a certain way. But anyways, I have to go to work now, and I really have a lot to say about this, but I hope I'll make another video that's more logical, and maybe while I'm not driving so we don't see this little swaying thing. So have a good day. Bye.